No, 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 she forgot to take it off, that's all. Yeah, no, she forgot to take it off. Alright, take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, get in and change that. Oh. Good evening, everyone. Oh, there we go. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Hello. Dr. Poti, is technology available? Mrs. Moore did not receive the link. Yes. Mrs. Moore
Did you
did
go?
not receive the link for tonight's meeting.
No, did you go into her computer on her calendar and just go to the day?
Calendar, yes.
tap into
I'm
that
not
way?
certain. I can give her a call.
Right, because usually just once you get it, usually automatically goes to your calendar.
Okay.
And it's just for the regular meeting,
I,
and
un-
then he will transition us into the executive.
I
meeting.
understand that. See, my Mac does both. Okay.
Ms. Peterson, I
Peterson.
called Mr. Aponte and he's going to send it to Ms. Moore again.
Thank you. I know that you can go into your calendar, but for us that are Mac lovers, we get it both ways. So I don't have to go into my calendar. I just go on and it's there. So
Okay.
I'm not certain if she's a Mac or a PC. But thank you so much.
All right.
Hello, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hey, everyone. It's a great day in
Hey, Mr.
Winslow.
Blake.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I looked up and all of a sudden I was flooded with all these emails that just came through that I haven't had a chance to look at yet.
Who is the number on here on the screen?
I have no idea.
No clue. Because we have technology in district.
See.
Let's see.
Sure. I'm sending a message to Mr. Ponte.
Yeah, I did it
You
several
did?
times. Hopefully he'll get, I don't have his direct, so if you can do
I
that.
sent the direct link to Miss Moore.
Okay,
Oh, I
thank you.
sent it to Miss Moore as well.
So she should be able to get on.
Right.
Julie,
Yes.
who is Judy Myers?
Who? I don't know who Judy Myers is.
Okay, that would be me. Hold on one second. I'm NJEA consultant. I was here for the executive session.
Okay,
So do I stay on this link or do I wait until later?
No, you can stay there. When we go into executive session, our tech will give us direction and do so, all right?
Fantastic. Thank you.
Okay. Everyone is here.
Just for clarification, Dr. Poteet, would you like Ms. Myers put into the lobby or you want to keep her on the screen?
Well, you can put her in the lobby and wait, Mrs. Moore,
Okay, I'll ask Mr. Aponte.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Board
I
members.
just-
Okay. Excuse me, Dr. Poteet, did you have another comment?
No, I just didn't want to lose her altogether and not be able to have her return when we go to executive session. But Mrs. Bull took care of it, and Mrs. Peterson, we're ready to begin.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Welcome to Wednesday, June 9th, Winslow Township Board of Education, regular Board of Education meeting. We appreciate everyone that's here with us tonight on this virtual platform. As virtual goes, sometimes we may have some difficulty. I don't know if the weather will prohibit anything tonight, but I thank you in advance for your patience and understanding as we maneuver the virtual platform. Public notice of this meeting was given to all board members and associates in a notice dated February the 1st, 2021. Adequate and electronic notice of this public meeting has been provided specifying the time, place, and manner in which this meeting is being conducted. It was advertised in the Courier Post, posted in all schools, the administrative office, the municipal building, the library, Bugdougall Center, Edgewood Acres, Elmtown, and the Winslow Township post offices. The mission statement. The mission of Winslow Township District, a large, diverse, and growing community, is to educate all students to become independent, lifelong learners, critical thinkers, caring, and confident members of their community. The district, in partnership with the community, and in a climate of cooperation and mutual respect, will provide an academic environment which values excellence and diversity, encourages students to strive for personal excellence, and assist them in acquiring the knowledge, skills, and attitudes necessary to contribute positively to a rapidly changing world. Roll call.
Mr. Blake,
Present.
Ms. Dredden,
Here.
Ms. Martin,
Present.
Ms. McClendon,
Present.
Ms. Moore,
Present.
Mr. Shaw,
Present.
Ms. Thomas,
Present.
Ms. Peterson,
Present.
and Ms. Pitts.
Ms. Pitts will be absent tonight.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Thank you so much. Can you recite the Pledge of Allegiance with me? I pledge allegiance
Allegiance to the flag
Flag
of the
of the
United
United
States
States of
of
America
America.
and to
and
the
to the republic
republic for which
for
it
which it
stands,
stands,
one nation, under God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty
liberty,
and justice
justice
for
for
all. Thank you. Okay. The 2020-21 district goals.
Okay. 1, student achievement. Continue to implement best practices for delivering instruction to students utilizing all available and appropriate instructional modes. This shall include A, ensuring articulation at all grade levels throughout the district. B, focus on classroom instruction at all grade levels. C, ensuring all students have equal access to equipment and resources needed to facilitate and promote student learning in any setting. D, evaluation and updating all district programs. E, accountability of all district staff. 2, continue to foster a positive school environment that is conducive to teaching and learning. A, focus on building relationships among staff that will result in increased learning and more effective instruction. B, promote creative instruction, training, and retraining. C, emphasis on collaboration with all district stakeholders. D, promote cultural competence throughout district. E, teacher to student relationships. F, student to student relationships. 3, market our strengths and achievements to all stakeholders to increase capacity for greater parent, caregiver, community support. A, continue with our public relations / marketing plan. B, continue to work with the various advisory committees in the district. C, examine communication methods utilized by district.
Thank you, Mrs. Moore. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Awards and presentations.
Ms. Peterson, we do not have any awards or presentations this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Poteet. Correspondence.
We have none this evening, Madam Vice President.
Thank you, Mrs. McCoy. Minutes. Approve the following meeting minutes of the Board of Education. Regular meeting, May 26, 2021, open session.
McClendon moved that we accept the regular meeting minutes with any necessary corrections.
Ready, second.
It's been properly moved and seconded, moved by Mrs. McClendon, second by Mrs. Dredden. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Mr. Blake,
Yes.
Ms. Dredden,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. McClendon,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Abstain.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
and Ms. Peterson.
Yes,
Motion has carried.
thank you. Number 2, approve the following meeting minutes of the Board of Education. Special meeting, May 27th, 2021. And I'm going to do open and close.
McClendon moved that we accept the special meeting minutes, both open and closed session with any necessary corrections.
Ready, second.
It's been properly moved in second moved by Ms. McClendon, second by Ms. Dredden, that we accept the special meeting minutes of May 27th. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Mr. Blake,
Abstain.
Ms. Dredden,
Yes.
Ms. Martin. Did I lose Ms. Martin?
Sorry. Yes.
Oh, yes, thank you. Ms. McClendon,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Abstain.
Ms. Thomas, and Ms. Peterson.
Yes,
Motion is carried.
thank you so much. Board committee reports. Education, there is no committee meeting minutes. Operations. Ms. Dredden, are you on? You have to unmute yourself.
I'm sorry. No report at this time, Madam Vice President.
Thank you. Athletics.
Yes, Madam Vice President. The athletic committee met on Thursday, June 3rd at 6:30 p.m. It was our last meeting for the year. We discussed the seniors that were going the way to college. Right now, Mr. Whitaker has a working list of seniors and their prospective colleges and if they're going in the military or not. I sent that to all the board members today. Another thing we talked about was the restrictions that were lifted for indoor and outdoor events. We discussed the next item that we discussed was the fall sports starting on August 16th. Students need to be registered by August 16th. School physicals, the first date already passed, which was June 1st. The next one was, I guess yesterday was the last, another one. The physicals are listed on the district website and the high school page. And there's tentative physicals possible in August as well. Coaches had held interest meetings for upcoming fall sports already. Over 100 students have already registered to fill the fall sports. So that's a very good sign for the upcoming season in the fall. The last thing that we discussed was something that we've been discussing for a little while now, and that's the township feeder sports programs coming to our schools, so that way we can help build up our middle school and high school sports programs beyond football and track and some other the other stronger sporting programs that we have. So we're still trying to look at other avenues to find support in the community to help us build those programs up, such as baseball, softball, and other sporting programs in the community. So if anybody in the community has any suggestions, they can reach out to Mr. Whitaker, myself, and anybody on the athletic committee, and to help us out, because that's something that we are definitely strongly talking about. And as we move into the next school year, our meetings will be on the third Thursday of the month. That was the last thing that we talked about before we adjourned at 7:35. That's my,
Mr. Shaw,
yes.
is there any discussion or questions for Mr. Shaw and
I
the
have,
athletic?
I do have something to say. Mr. Shaw, I just wanted to, there was an update on the physical, school physical. So on the 8th, they did not hold the school, the
Okay.
physicals, due to, situation, out of our concern. But, they
Mhm.
did reschedule it for this Thursday. I'm sorry, not this Thursday, next Tuesday, which will be the 15th.
Okay.
At 12:30, I believe. So they did change the date and scheduled it for this upcoming Tuesday, starting at 12:30. They postponed that date of the 8th. So I just wanted to add that to what you were saying regarding the physicals.
Okay.
And Mr. Shaw, they will advise us of the tentative, if that's going to be a go for August for the physicals also. I'm assuming.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
I'm sure Mr. Whitaker and Dr. Poteet and the administration at the high school will keep it posted on the high school and the district website as well. So,
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hey. Policy Committee,
No report.
Citizens Advisory Board,
Yes. Citizens Advisory Committee met on June 3rd. Meeting started at 7:10, it ended at 8:13. Present were Ian Moran, Joe Thomas, Danielle Hunter, Carolyn Carter, Michelle Kane, Shauna Hart, Megan Byer, Peter Martin, and Cheryl Pitts. Discussion following up about the sports discussion last month. I won't go into the details because we're just talking about that. Self-promotion within the district. How can we be sure that we are hiring within the district instead of looking out? Ms. Martin, myself, joint job openings are advertised within the schools. Ms. Pitts, district offers and pays for professional development. Are we telling current staff members who don't get a job they interviewed for why they aren't getting the job and what they can do to become more qualified for the next time there is an opening? Mr. Thomas, looking and posting within is required, but taking this extra step shows that the district wants to promote from within and wants to make sure that is possible. Marketing has taken off since Ms. McClendon has taken over. They are doing a great job with Facebook, but we need to make sure that all channels are being used for a wider reach. Example, church bulletins, youth organizations. Courier Post article about the middle school was one. How can we utilize this relationship? CAC members can try to develop relationships with reports or media to funnel information. As a result of this discussion, the idea came about that someone in the CAC work with Ms. McClendon to make sure stories and news are passed along and shared from CAC members. Joe Thomas and Daniel Hunter volunteered to work with her and maybe attend a marketing meeting to see how they can help. Grade moving up ceremony. How was the decision made for seniors and eighth graders to have a ceremony but not sixth grade? Ms. Pitts, direct this question to the principals of schools 5 and 6. Middle school on Thursday, June 3rd, 2021. The middle school sheltered in place because a teacher overheard a student say another student brought a gun to school. Proper protocols were followed and nothing was found. Some parents read this information on the Winslow Township Police Department's Facebook page before the district put anything out. Renaming schools. CAC isn't responsible for survey of community. Board will discuss the renaming of schools and the survey questions at their meeting in July. Suggestions or questions, yes or no, as far as being interested in renaming of schools after someone local and national, memorializing or living individuals. How much does it cost to rename the schools? Can we provide the community with that information? Will this be done in-house or is there money in the budget to have a firm come to help with the survey and renaming process? The CAC will not meet in July. Our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, August 5th, 2021 at 7 p.m.
Thank you.
And that
Any-
concludes.
Thank you, Mrs. Martin. Is there any questions for the CAC committee? Thank you once again. Equality and Equity Committee, is there an update?
No report at this time.
Thank you so much. I did not leave you last, but I know you have a lot coming from the Marketing Committee. And I just want to say kudos to that wonderful flyer that I received in my board. That's another way. I'm going to take it. That's another way we can advertise, by sharing that flyer on our social media and texting that flyer out too. So without further ado, Mrs. McClendon.
Thanks, Madam Vice President. We did not have a meeting, the marketing team, but I did want to say that the flyer has been put out to the community through our social media page. And I want to thank Ms. Moore and Dr. Poteet for doing an excellent job on getting the flyer together so that we can have it prepared to start sending out to the community. So kudos to those committee members who did an excellent job putting it together. I want to let everybody know that we have gotten a lot of great feedback already since the flyer has hit. A lot of Edgewood and Winslow are reaching out to participate in many ways. Some people are even color guards, they want to participate. So we have definitely got a lot of feedback and emails regarding how can we help, how can we participate. So it's definitely starting off on the right foot, and I'm sure on behalf of the marketing team, we are all excited about the homecoming events that will take place. Just want to say that the marketing team will have our next meeting on the 22nd of this month, and remember, it is in person at 3 p.m. And that concludes just some announcements, Madam Vice President.
Thank you, Mrs. McClendon. I have to also state that I had 2 calls tonight about students that are now 35 years old, that they're alums. Are they Edgewood or are they Winslow? So I said, if you're 35 and you graduated at 18, that would be 17 years ago. And you may be a combination of both. So that's something that your committee may have to look into. Some say they're Winslow, some say they're Edgewood. I don't know. But just a lot of discussion. So thank you. Excellent job.
Dr. Poteet, you probably can
Sure.
add to that. When was the first class for Winslow?
I think they received their Winslow Township High School diplomas. I think it was 2001. But here's how you make the determination. So don't quote me, because that's always a question for discussion. But look at your diploma. Whatever your diploma says, that's what you are. So if your diploma says you're Edgewood graduate, grade Edgewood High School, then you're Edgewood. If your diploma says Winslow Township High School, then you're Winslow Township. And that's very simple. All right. But I think the first one was 2001 was the first diplomas with Winslow Township High School, but I can check just to make sure.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Wait, I do have a comment, though. Like, I'm thinking, like, what if you started at Edgewood but then graduate in Winslow? What do you consider? I think that's the question.
I don't think that happened that way.
Okay.
When you say started in Edgewood, you may have started in Edgewood, let's say as a 9th grader. And then by the time you graduated, the school district has changed over to Winslow. So it's still your diploma. Whatever your diploma says, that's what you are officially. But personally, if you want to deviate from that and say, well, I'm both, then that's something you can decide. But I think at this point, whatever your diploma says, that's exactly what you are officially.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Blake, because that was the question with the parents and the students to decide. So thank you. Okay. Board members, I'm moving on to the superintendent's report. I entertain a motion for approval of the superintendent's report, item A through B, page 2 through 5.
McClendon moved that we accept the superintendent's report with any necessary corrections.
Dredden second.
It's been properly moved by Mrs. McClendon, second by Mrs. Dredden, to accept the superintendent's report. Roll call.
Mr. Blake,
Yes.
Ms. Dredden,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. McClendon,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
and Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you very much. Business Administrator Board Secretary report. I entertain a motion to accept the Business Administrator Board Secretary's report, item A through C, page 5 through 13.
McClendon moved that we accept the business administrator report with any necessary corrections or changes.
Dredden second.
It's been properly moved by Ms. McClendon, second by Ms. Dredden, to accept the Business Administrator's Board Secretary's report. Roll call.
Mr. Blake,
Yes.
Ms. Dredden,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. McClendon,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
and Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
Motion has carried.
Thank you so much. Personnel report. I entertain a motion to accept the recommendations of the superintendent's approval of the following actions found in the personnel report. Item A, page 14 through 15.
McClendon moved that we accept the personnel report with any necessary corrections or changes.
Ms. Dredden, you're muted.
It's been properly moved by Mrs. McClendon, second by Mrs. Dredden, that we accept the personnel report, which is a part of the superintendent's recommendations. Roll call.
Mr. Blake,
Yes.
Ms. Dredden. Thank you. Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. McClendon,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you so much. Board members, you should have received an addendum. Everyone, I'm gonna give you about 1 minute so that you can look at the addendum if you haven't already.
Ms. Peterson, may I interject for a second? This is Mr.
Yes.
Long.
Sure.
I want to go back for a second and ask Mrs. Boyle, and this could be completely on me because it's unusual. There was an approval on page 10 of the agenda and an approval on page 13 of the agenda. Did we do the page 10?
No, we did not, but Ms. Peterson grouped it all together, so we'll delete
So
those.
we're going to treat that as if you usually don't bifurcate them like that. Mrs. Boyle, you usually combine them together. So for purposes of this, we have combined your entire report together, correct?
Yes, that's the way,
Thank-
that was my interpretation, Mr. Long.
Yes, that would be both our interpretation. So we are good and can proceed. Thank you. I just wanted to double check before we got too far.
And Mr.
Thank
Long,
you.
that's why I combined them both. Okay.
Thank you.
Is everyone prepared to discuss the addendum? Okay. Was there a comment? Okay. I entertain a motion for approval of the Business Administrative Board Secretary's item A, found on page 1 and 2 of the addendum.
McClendon moved that we accept the addendum by the business administrator with any necessary corrections or changes.
Dredden second.
It's been properly moved and moved by Ms. McClendon, second by Ms. Dredden, that we accept the board administrator, board secretaries, business administrator, board secretaries report found on page 1 and 2. Roll call.
Mr. Blake,
Yes.
Ms. Dredden,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. McClendon,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
and Ms. Peterson.
Yes,
Motion is carried.
thank you so much. Under personnel report, the superintendent recommends approval of the following action items found on page 3, and it's item A, and that's 1 and 2. I entertain a motion for approval.
McClendon moved that we accept the addendum of the superintendent's report with any corrections or necessary changes.
Ms. Dredden,
Second. Dredden.
it's been properly moved in second that we accept the personnel report, the superintendent's recommendation for approval of the following items. Roll call.
Mr. Blake,
Yes.
Ms. Dredden,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. McClendon,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
and Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
Motion has carried.
Open Public Records Act, Oprah request.
Yes, Madam Vice President, between May 21st, 2021 and June 3rd of 2021, we received and responded to 2 requests. One came from Tara McCauley of United Electrical, Radio, and Machine Workers of America. She wanted a copy of the current Winslow Township School District contract with ESS for year 2020-21. That document was sent. And number 2, we received a request from Complex Legal Services. They requested a personnel record or employment record for a district employee, limited to January 1, 2014 to present. The employee did grant permission and those records were supplied.
Thank you so much. Old business. And I just wanted to mention to the board that I did leave a couple of voice messages for our field representative, Teresa Lewis, in reference to the theme for the upcoming New Jersey School Board Association's conference, so that we can begin designing a proposal for submission. So that's just an update. Is there any additional old business?
I do have a question, Madam Vice President.
Yes.
I'm not sure if this is ready to be presented back to the board, or if I even missed it in the meeting minutes, the agenda, but did the committee meet to discuss the recommendation, I guess that was on the floor for a committee to propose I don't want to say engineering, but it was 2 companies that were, we were looking to accept their request for proposal, I believe, but I thought it was coming back to the board today, so I didn't see it on the report as well. Did the committee meet with Mr. Shaw? The operations committee, I believe, was the committee that was handling it.
Ms. Peters?
Yes.
Okay. Did I miss it, Ms. Boyle?
I'm
Was
sorry,
it on
Ms.
the?
Peters. I'm sorry, Ms. McClendon. Ms. Peterson, you were on the committee. I'm sorry, so you can comment.
Thank you. Mr. Shaw, with his expertise, was unable to be with us that night. But yes, there was a committee that met with the two companies to interview them for the position. And that was Mrs. Dredden, who is the chair of operation. Mrs. Pitts is on the committee, and I served on the committee along with our business administrative board secretary. And Pon, we went a little bit over an hour in interview, and it was a very good interview. There was a weighted criteria, and we had the weighted scores and some information that was shared. And if our board secretary would like to go any further, we can do it at this time to say the raw data.
So, Madam Vice President, on page 12, that was reported out, it's number 5, professional appointment engineer. And the committee, based on the scores, we all did independent evaluations, and then we put them together. And based on the scores, you'll see the committee approved to appoint consulting and municipal engineer, CMP, to serve as the engineer of the Board of Education for the 21-22 school year. So that's item 5 on page 12.
Okay, thank you. I wasn't sure if it was going because we didn't talk about it, so I thought maybe I missed it or something. But thank you for the clarification, Ms. Boyle and Ms. Peterson.
You're welcome. Okay.
We're beginning to get an echo. If we can all remember to mute when we're not speaking.
Thank you for that. Any other old business? New business?
Yes.
And I have one item.
Madam
You
Vice
want to go
President, go
first
ahead.
and then I'll go. Okay, yes, go ahead, Dr. Poteet.
Yes. We have an issue that was brought before the board. I provided you some information in reference to graduation and the moving up ceremony for the middle school, graduation at the high school. There's been some discussion with parents in reference to the number of tickets each individual would have. And one of the issues that we find ourselves in, meaning the building principals and myself, is that as the governor continued to release the restrictions on outdoor gatherings, the Center for Disease Control doesn't necessarily have the same guidelines, and therefore we are always caught in the middle of making the decision one way or the other in the best interest of our staff and students, as well as the community. As far as I am concerned, as superintendent, I have been directed over the course of this school year to make sure that all of our activities are provided in such a way that they present a safe environment for everyone in attendance. We have done that thus far. However, graduation is somewhat different in that it is our largest gathering. And again, CDC is asking us to make sure that we follow certain specific guidelines, such as social distancing. Anyone who is not vaccinated should wear a mask. But then on the other hand, we find ourselves in a position where as those restrictions continue to be released and lifted, we are continuously being placed more and more in a position where that decision becomes more and more difficult to be made. So I presented to the board tonight, not only for discussion, but a recommendation, because graduation and the moving up ceremony for the middle school is next week. So not only is for discussion purpose, but a recommendation from the board this evening as to what direction we're going to go. Are we going to provide our graduating seniors and moving up 8th graders with more than 2 tickets? Or are we going to continue to follow as closely as we possibly can the CDC guidelines as they specify? So at this point, Madam President, I'm open for recommendations, discussion of the board, because I know we have some parents and students out there who are waiting for decision this evening so that we can tell them where we're going, what direction we're going to go for as early as tomorrow.
Okay, with that, board members, that's one of the new items I wanted to bring up also, because I did get contacted several times about that. I think what I'm understanding that we can discuss the possibility of increasing the number of tickets, but also ensuring with signs, and I'm looking to Dr. Potee and his staff and our board solicitor with signs that if you're not vaccinated, to make certain that you consider others and wear masks at the opening. So board members, I entertain a motion to go into discussion about moving up and graduation ticket numbers.
I second
McClendon
that
moved.
motion.
Good. So it was moved by Ms. McClendon and second by Mr. Shaw. Thank you. Thank you. Discussion.
Can I want to talk about it first, if I could, Ms. Peterson. I think we should move the number of tickets up to 4, but I think that I know it's going to be hot and people are going to complain about what I'm going to say, but just for the safety of it, because you can't know who's vaccinated, you can't know who's not. Masks should be mandatory. If we're going to bump it up to 4 tickets, masks should be mandatory. Just for the safety of those who are, just for the safety of those who aren't vaccinated and those who are, just in general.
Dr. Potee, Ms. Martin, I have a question for you. In
Yes.
reference to the CDC, when it comes to social distancing outside, are they still asking us to do 6 feet or are we doing 3?
Well, the Center for Disease Control has always maintained 6 feet. However, the Camden County Department of Health said at a minimum of 3 feet. And that's pretty much direction they've given us as of this week. So that's what we've been trying to convey to the staff, the students, and the parents. But again, we keep running into that situation where the executive orders continue to say that there are no restrictions, that all the restrictions have been lifted, and there's always a conflict between, and this is how they use it in the general public. There's a political decision and there's a science decision, and they don't always match. So the political decision, meaning coming from your elected officials, may be different than the decisions that are being given to us through science, which is controlled by the Center for Disease Control. And at this point, there's a lot of discussion about if you have a group of people that are all vaccinated, then those criteria is totally different. But if you have a group of people, large group of people, and you have people who are not vaccinated, then they're saying that those people should wear masks. But at a graduation, for example, that's almost impossible for you to monitor and know. How would you know who's not vaccinated and who is? And then again, legally, you can't ask people, are you vaccinated or are you not vaccinated? So that in itself becomes impossible to monitor, really. And the situation, again, as we find ourselves in, it's one that is just getting to the point where you as a board have to decide, what do you want us to do in terms of accommodating these activities. So, we've been going back and forth, and at this point, I think it's something that needs to be discussed and decided as a group, as a board, excuse me.
Thank you. Okay, so Dr. Potee, in reference to what you just stated, I'm thinking in terms of the fact that our graduates from the class of 2020 they had a different opportunity completely.
Yes.
So moving forward, if we were to go to having each family have 4 tickets,
yes,
I honestly do feel that it is mandatory, and I repeat, mandatory, that mask hot or not, must be worn by everyone for the safety of everyone that is there. Everyone, not some, everyone.
Madam, Vice President, Dr.
Yeah.
Potteet, I agree with what has been said. I agree that we should bump it up, but we should the children all should wear masks. Everyone should have a mask on just to be safe and be sure that no one comes down with the virus or anything. And that if we are going to be 6 feet apart, 3 feet apart, it still would have to be masked in order to bump it up to 4 tickets.
Right. Well, I just want to say this to the board members, Mrs. Dredden, so everyone will know. It is physically impossible for us to provide everyone with 4 tickets and still social distance. It's physically impossible. Our bleachers aren't that large. We cannot accommodate social distancing with that number of tickets. And I think that's why we are here tonight, is because the building principals through my direction have pretty much been doing what's been asked of them. And they've been trying to measure out our capacity and trying to do the social distancing. It's physically impossible. So at this point, some of the recommendations that are being made, that even in the best social distancing situation, signs should be put out that if you're not vaccinated, you should wear a mask. Even though outdoors, the executive orders are saying that masks are not even required anymore. But I do understand the recommendations being made, and I do agree that if you are not vaccinated for the sake of other people, you should have on a mask. If we're going to move forward, then for the sake and the safety of everybody, you should have a mask on. The large gatherings, ladies and gentlemen, the chance of a spread is much, much greater. The larger the gathering, the greater the chances of a spread. So I think at this point, if you can get everyone to cooperate with a mask, that would be great. But just keep in mind who's going to monitor that. And I don't want our police officers or my principals out there trying to monitor it, people not cooperating. Now you're into a confrontation, and graduation is not about that. And you don't want to have confrontations at the gate or in the seating area. So we're not going to be in a position where I'm going to ask someone to go and monitor masking. So, we need to be very honest and realistic. That's just not feasible. But yes, I think it's encouraging that everybody have on a mask. Whether we'll be able to get people to cooperate, I don't know, but keep in mind, there'll be multiple differences in age groups there. You're going to have your seniors, your grandparents, you have the younger people. So if people would wear the mask, it would really help this situation. But I just want us to know up front, monitoring and mandating something such as that is physically impossible, nor do you want to be in a confrontational situation for graduation. So, I just want to make sure we're all clear on just some of the things we've already had discussions about for the past 2-3 weeks. I don't think there's anything we haven't discussed with my leadership team, Mr. Long, the building principals, the assistants. I mean, we've gone through this so many times. And one thing I want to make very clear, it's not that we didn't want to give the students, the tickets. It's never been a situation where we're being insensitive or we're just being outright mean. We just have an obligation to make sure that it's safe. That's all. That's the bottom line. We have an obligation to make sure that it's safe. So if everybody would wear a mask, that would really, really be helpful. But I don't see how you're going to regulate it if someone decides not to do it.
Thank you, Doctor. Yes, because I want to go and make sure, and I'm glad you are the next one, Mr. Blake. Each board member has their voice shared. So,
Well,
Mr. Blake,
no, I was
Okay.
gonna say the same thing to Dr. Poteet. I'm ready to take action. I don't think we need to go all night with this. Like, we're just gonna give the 4 tickets. Let's keep it moving.
I understand what you're saying, but I want to ensure that every board member has their opinion. So if no one is, I can say yes, Mrs. Moore.
So I do agree. I say we mandate masks and hope for the best. Parents have really been asking for this. No, honestly, parents have been asking for this, and hopefully they will help us by doing what we're asking and making sure those who get the tickets will do it too. I mean, we're trying to work this out so that we can increase the number. So hopefully they'll respect that decision and wear the mask.
Anyone, Mrs. Thomas and Miss McClendon and Miss Dredden? Any
I have a
different?
question.
Yes.
Is it possible, Dr. Potee, you said that it's physically impossible or not where the seating area of the bleachers in order to do any type of social distancing if we offer 4 tickets. Is it possible we could live stream at
It is.
least from the part from where the student in the podium and have the additional 2 tickets of each family maybe sit in the gymnasium so that we can try to at least accommodate if we do the 4 tickets, because you said the bleachers is not going to work if we try to social distancing with those amount of tickets. Can we do an overflow with live streaming in another area?
Well, we're going to live stream both the graduation and the moving up ceremony. That's
Okay, great.
Yes, that's already been decided.
Okay.
We've already put that out there.
Okay.
But people want to be, if you give them 4 tickets, the live stream was hopefully to accommodate those who couldn't come. But if we give them 4 tickets, then the live streaming doesn't become as important. So I don't think it's important at this point to try to live stream it and have a place inside the school while everybody's outside. So what we're going to try to do, Mr. Morella and Mr. Wanguma and I, we talked about bringing more seating there on the track, more chairs, bringing some of the benches that we have on the athletic fields for spectators, bring them out to increase the seating as much as possible. The CDC recommendations, and I'm going to continue to talk about health issues. If you come as a family, then it's okay for the 4 people as a family, for example, to sit together. But then there's another family that is outside of your household. So you're going to want to try to keep some space between you and those individuals because you don't know them, you don't know their habits. So for whatever reasons, if the families can at least try the social distance as much as possible in those stands, that will be helpful also. But I just don't see it happening. There's just no way you're going to get 3 to 6 feet social distancing with 4 tickets because our seating capacity cannot accommodate that many. I mean, if you visualize, for those of you, and I think all of you have been to our stadium, the bleachers on the home side, they're not that large. You don't get that many. I think on a good day, our seating capacity, both home and visitor, is about 1,000.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
A little over 1,000 seats. We don't have a large seating stadium. But I think at this point, and I don't want to belabor it anymore, because I think it's important that every board member have an opportunity. As Mr. Blake mentioned, let's move on. You made your decision, or at least the recommendation has been made. If people will work with us and wear masks, try to put some space in between each of the families if you possibly can, and do your very best.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Potee. Does the other 3 board members that haven't spoken have any additional comments? If not, I can craft a motion. Yes.
Okay, I just have one other thing. So I just want to be clear. we will still be live streaming, right?
Oh, yeah, that's a given. We've
Okay,
already approved that.
Okay.
And you
Yes, we are
approved the
live streaming.
funding of that tonight. That was on the agenda. So is there any additional comments from the ones that did not speak?
Madam Vice President, I did speak. This is Ms. Stray.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
now, let me just, before.
Can I craft something?
Yeah,
And
but
then,
before you do that, Mrs. Peterson, and again, it's my responsibility to play devil's advocate, so we'll know. If it rains, the high school rain, it will move the graduation indoors. And if you move graduation indoors, the 4 tickets will not work, and that's a given. If it rains and we have to go indoors, 4 tickets will not work. Now, again, we'll be live streaming, but you can't get that many people inside and indoors, because indoors, the safety issues are much more stringent. Outdoors is much more liberal because you have the outdoor air, etc. But indoors, I just need to make sure. And for the middle school, for example, and hopefully it doesn't rain, because if the middle school, if it rains, their class is too large. We can't even go inside with them because you have to social distance inside. There's just no way around that. Social distancing must take place inside. And for us to social distance those students, first of all, 375, 380 students on the floor alone, we probably wouldn't be able to get them all in there because the gym is not big enough. And then to bring all the parents in and try to social distance. So we need to make sure people understand that indoors, the criteria totally changes because the safety issues are far greater. All right, Mrs. Peterson, I just wanted to make sure we understood that.
okay, and I will rely on your administrative team to craft a message related to that. So if I can take the liberty to craft a motion that Ms. McClendon and Ms. Dredden can move in second, that we give 4 tickets per student, mandatory masks must be worn, 3 feet distancing when possible. The numbers will change if we go to a rain event and have to move inside. Is that agreeable? And I'm looking at my solicitor. Does that meet with everyone?
Well
I
stated.
think we
Yep.
should put a number on what the change would be if we do go inside.
2. It would be
Yes.
2.
We need to put that in the motion, Mr.
Okay, so I'll recraft it and then you can move it. That each student will receive 4 tickets. Mandatory masks must be worn. 3 feet distance is required. And if it is a rain event, students will receive 2 tickets only, and the seating arrangement will be a little bit different. There will be live streaming for both.
Yes.
I entertain a motion for approval.
McClendon move that we accept the statement just stated by Vice President Ms. Peterson as stated.
Ready, second.
It's been properly moved and second that students will receive 4 tickets, mask mandatory, 3 feet distancing when outside. If it's a rain event, 2 tickets. And the requirements will be a little bit different with seating because of guidelines that we have received. Roll call.
Mr. Blake,
Yes.
Ms. Dredden,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. McClendon,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
and Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
The
Thank
motion
you
has
for
carried.
Thank you for that discussion. I appreciate everyone's input. Additional information items, Dr. Potee.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board and community, I have a few information items this evening. the COVID-19 numbers are not available for the past couple of days for Camden County. However, the state positivity rate is 1.06. Camden County is 1.88. Those numbers are slowly going down. COVID-19 vaccinations for students will be tomorrow, June the 10th at Winslow Township High School Gymnasium, starting at 5 p.m. We're asking the parents to please bring your child as soon as possible. We do not want the Camden County Department of Health to become complacent and leave. Last time they were there quite some time, and parents were straggling in and they were ready to leave. We had to talk them into staying. So please, parents, if your child received their first vaccine, please come out tomorrow at the Winslow Township High School gym starting at 5 p.m. Please get there as soon as possible because I do not believe they're going to stay until 8 o'clock. All right. On a good note, the girls track team won their 8th straight sectional title. The girls and boys track team will be running for their state competition this weekend. The girls will be competing for their 9th straight state title. So we wish them well, and hopefully they will be successful. Last but not least, and it's something that I want the community as well as board members to really be aware of, because I am in the process of completing a safe return plan. As you can recall, last year I had to put together, along with the administrative staff and community, a school reopening plan, which is still on our website. I'm also now being asked to do a safe return plan, very similar, but not of the magnitude of the last plan. But it is asking for very similar information. They want us to be able to explain how we're going to maintain health and safety, how we're going to do physical distancing or social distancing in the classroom, the cafeteria, on our buses. What are we doing in terms of hand washing, what etiquette procedures, hand sanitizers? How are the buildings being cleaned and maintained? Classrooms, cafeterias, restrooms, high traffic areas, playgrounds. What are we going to do, and what products are we going to be using to make sure that those areas are clean and safe for our students and staff return? Our HVAC systems, how we're going to monitor those systems, how we're going to make sure that they're being well maintained throughout the course of the year. In the event that there's a COVID outspread, contact tracing, how that's going to take place, whether or not we're going to do any screening of our staff as we did this year, and information in reference to our accommodations for our special education students and students with disabilities, the continuity of services as far as our academic programs, professional development, social, emotional, and mental health needs of our students, food services, whether it's going to be similar to this year, how that's going to work. But I do want to mention that we have already received approval for breakfast and lunch for next year will be free to all of the students K-12 in the Winslow Township School District. So the parents don't have to worry about packing a lunch or worry about breakfast. It'll be free to all students in the district for the entire school year. So that is also in the plan. Technology, how are we going to incorporate technology in the event of health or COVID closure? What steps we're going to take to maintain, to make sure that students maintain accessibility, and what opportunities we're going to give our public to comment. What I'm going to do, board members and members of the committee, I am going to post this plan on Monday on our website. I will provide you with a copy of the plan personally. I will post it on our website and on our Facebook page. I'm asking the community to please review the plan. And at our next school board meeting, when we have an opportunity for public comment, if any parents have any questions or concerns in reference to the plan. Now, this is a working document. It has to be, of course, submitted to the state by the end of the month. However, over the summer months, July and August, if there are any changes in the CDC or the New Jersey Department of Health, any changes that are made, we would have to incorporate those changes up into September. So this is a working document. It is the safe return plan. It will be on our website on Monday. Board members, you will receive a copy for yourselves. And we're asking community to please review the plan. It's not as much information as the previous plan, but it is information that you should be aware of as we move forward to the opening of school in September, and that is full face-to-face instruction. Even tonight, if there's any parents out there or board members, you have any questions that you would like to ask tonight in reference to the plan, I will be more than helpful in trying to address any of those plans. And again, it is a working document, and there are a very, very good chance that some of these recommendations could change. Madam Vice President, that concludes my information items for this evening, and I will address any questions you may have at this time.
Board members, are there any questions for Dr. Potteet?
No, I don't have a question, but I do have an information item.
Sure.
Madam Vice President. I just want to remind the community that this Sunday, Christ Care Unit Missionary Baptist Church, better known as CCU, will have the COVID vaccination shots, first shot this Sunday at 10:30, starting from 10:30 to 12:30 with the time. And the address is 242 Sicklerville Road. So if you have not been vaccinated, here's another opportunity to get vaccinated. They will take walk-ins, so you don't have to pre-register. So your first shot will be there, and then they will bring you back for your second shot at the same location. So please take advantage of this opportunity to be vaccinated. Thank you.
Madam Vice President, and I want to thank Mrs. McClendon for reminding me. The reason we had the confusion with the COVID vaccines for our students for tomorrow, when I called them last week, they sent me an email that said they will be in the school district on June the 11th. What they were confusing us with, the Bud Dugal Center, the township is having COVID-19 shots on Friday, June the 11th at the Bud Dugal Center. So it's another opportunity for anyone in the community. Friday, June the 11th, the Bud Dugal Center will be providing COVID vaccine shots for adults. And again, I apologize for the confusion. We don't have control over their availability. So when they sent that information to me, I thought it was correct that they had changed it, then come to find out it was incorrect. So we apologize, but we do have another opportunity for the community on June the 11th at the Bud Dugal Center. Thank you.
I'd like to thank Dr. Potteet and Mrs. McClendon, because this really is a family, and I say a Winslow Township family concern, that we want to ensure that our family members, those that are interested in receiving the vaccination, has an opportunity. So within the next week, I heard 3 opportunities to get that vaccination. So thank you, thank you, thank you. No further business, informational items? Then I will go into.
I have a question for Dr. Potteet. Dr. Potteet, have we
Yes.
given any thoughts of just thinking? So we had the first shot, 20-something days ago, and it was only one day. So have we thought about having another vaccination starting like sometime in August and then in September, just in case, for some reason, because that date could have been bad for some people? I mean, if we work with the, health department, is it possible we can do one in August and then another one in September if possible?
I can inquire. I can
Okay.
ask them their availability. I think it would be a great idea. Again, as we mentioned before, it is a personal decision of individual families. But in order for us to make sure that as many people are safe as possible, the shots are available. So I will ask them and see what their availability is, and I'll report back at our next meeting or before.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional comments? We're going to go into public comments. The Winslow Township Board of Education highly values the input of citizens in making important decisions that affect the children of our community. We also believe in the rights of citizens to observe board meetings, to ensure that all our citizens have the opportunity to attend school board meetings and offer comments, and to ensure that the board can conduct the important business of the district. We ask that speakers follow the guidelines for making public comments. The board president or board secretary will recognize those individuals in the audience via internet who wish to make comments. Please respect the following procedures. All members of the public attending school board meetings must treat each other and the board with respect. 2, state your full name and address. 3, please limit your comments to 4 minutes. 4, submit your question to the Board of Education with your name, address, and telephone number where you can be contacted. Your question will be answered within a reasonable time. And 5, individuals offering citizens' comment are not permitted to make personal attacks on any district employees, board members, and other testifiers or members of the public. I entertain a motion to open public comments.
McClendon moves that we open for public comments at this time.
Dredden second.
It's been properly moved that we open with public comments. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion has carried. Mrs. McClendon, is there anyone on the line? Mrs. McClendon, excuse me, Mrs. McCoy. Is there anyone on the line?
The names are so close, Ms. Boyle. It's so close, right?
Look,
The
I've been
mix.
called worse, so you know.
We're the mix sisters. The mix.
There you go. There is somebody on the line. I'm not certain if it's the person that was there before, but I'll admit them. Good evening. You joined the public comment section of the board meeting of the Winslow Township Board of Education. If you would state and spell your name, your
Mrs. Boyle, you are
give us your address,
spooling,
and you
and you're disjointed, Mrs. Boyle. You are spooling.
pardon me, drop out.
Yes, you were
Am I
spooling,
now?
and no one
Okay.
here, the caller. You had a little circle going on your box, like I would have a circle right here, as if it was not a good connection. And someone apparently is indicating that they're speaking from a telephone, but I don't hear anybody.
All right. Can you hear me now, Mr. Long? Yes, I'm getting nods. So caller, you have joined the public comment section. We can only see you as a phone number 856-6****82. You have joined the public comment section. If you'd like to make a comment to the board, yes? You can state your name and spell it, and then go ahead and make your comment. Okay.
We are not picking up the caller, Mrs. Boyle.
No,
but
and
the caller appears to be on our WebEx, but we're not.
yeah, they are on the WebEx. Let's make sure.
They've
They're
been
not
unmuted.
muted. They're not muted, no. Let me check with technology.
While we're waiting for Mrs. McCoy to come back, as the district the administrative team crafts the message about commencement, graduation, and promotion tickets, the guidelines, the 4 tickets, mandatory mask, 3 feet. Is it possible to write up something that can be shared? Because we're getting excellent feedback on our Facebook page. Can that be shared so that it's broader messaging that we can actually send out, Dr. Poteet?
Now, Mrs. Peterson, I heard what you said, but I'm not sure exactly what you're asking me to do. Are you asking me to put something out to the community in reference to what was agreed upon tonight? Is that what I hear you saying? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct. Yes. If we can have it on the website,
Sure.
the district website, also utilize and I'm looking at Mrs. McClendon. Yes, I'm looking at you. If we can do it on our Facebook page.
Yeah,
because-
we can do something. We can do something tomorrow. We'll put it out there and we'll clarify.
Okay.
I just want to just make sure that in as much as we would love for 3 feet of social distancing to occur, I don't think that's going to be possible, but I'm hoping that our parents and community will continue to work with us and try to do their very best to keep everyone safe, because we want everybody to have a good time. So I'm asking for their cooperation. This is one of those joint ventures where working together will be the only way we're going to be successful.
And that's great. And then perhaps our CAC can actually encourage that along with board members. And I know there is, I forgot the name of the group, and Dr. Poteet, you're a part of that group. And I know it's not We Are Winslow or We Are Strong or something.
What
It-
is the heart and soul?
Yes, thank you. If we can share that information with them so that they can help advocate for us too, because it is a community event. And we're very proud of our graduates and our district. Mrs. McCoy, have you been able to reach the speaker?
No, we believe there might be a problem on their end. I'm going to move them back into the lobby. There is another caller in the lobby, which I will bring in.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so
Ms. Boyle,
yes,
is it possible just to ask the caller to log out of the WebEx and then come back in again? Because sometimes it's just the transmission with the internet. So
correct. So if the caller can hear me, we're going to move you into the lobby. If you would like to sign out and come back in, that would be great. Okay. All right.
looks like we lost Ms. Boyle again. Having some connectivity issues.
Yes.
Dr. Poteet, while we're waiting,
Yes.
I'm uh-oh. I was just wondering because I couldn't remember from when my daughter graduated. So with the tickets, do the students get 2 different colored tickets?
Yes.
So that
Indoor and
so
outdoor,
that
yes.
for indoors and outdoors,
Yes.
awesome. Okay,
Yes.
great.
That way
Thank
you
you.
can distinguish between the two, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And then it'll all be like all smoked down there. Oh,
Okay.
takers.
2-6. All right. One of the callers is gone and one is in. Both were gone for a minute. So caller, welcome to the public comment section of the Board of Education meeting. If you would please state and spell your name, give us your address, and then go ahead and make your comment to the board.
Good evening. This is Stephanie Simmons, 7 Waltham Way, Sicklerville.
Ms.
Good
Simmons, would
evening.
you go ahead and make your comment to the
evening.
board?
Sure. First of all, thank you very much for the 4 tickets. As a senior mom, we really appreciate it. Second of all, it's not going to rain next Thursday because hopefully all of you on the board, if you've learned anything from all of us over the last few years, is that to never underestimate the power of an HSA mom to get good weather when we need it. The third thing, I want to thank Dr. Poteet and Mr. Schropp and everybody that had a hand in the senior awards last week. It was very lovely, and thank you, Dr. Poteet, for the kind words towards me. And then finally, I need to put a plug in for those of you who've been keeping track. The HSA, the high school HSA is hosting Project Graduation next Thursday night. You know, it's a safe, drug-free way to have the kids celebrate one last time as a class. Due to COVID, we were not able to do our usual Spirit of Philadelphia trip, so we're hosting it in the cafeteria. And the numbers weren't looking very good for attendance about 2 weeks ago, but it really picked up. It's our hope to make the night, it's a Disney-themed event. It's our hope to make the night as magical as possible. And it's really our hope to every senior walk away with some sort of small gift. We're hoping a minimum of $25. Right now, we're at about 60 gifts at that value. So if anybody listening on the phone, any of the board members can donate a $25 gift card, either there's something generic like an Amazon, a Wawa, Starbucks, the HSA would really appreciate it. All the door prizes are going to be raffled off. And like I said, it's our hope that every single senior walks out with at least one prize that night. So if anybody can contribute, you don't have to say anything now, but you know, Stephanie McCreary knows how to get in touch with me. If anybody wants to drop stuff off at the board office or whatever, I'll be glad to come collect it next Monday or Tuesday. But we'd really appreciate anything that anybody can donate.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
That is all. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Take care.
All right,
Have a good
thank you for your time, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
At this time, Madam Vice President, there is nobody in the waiting room.
Well, we'll wait 4 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes. And if there isn't any, then I will entertain a motion that we review our executive session with our solicitor.
So while we're waiting, did everybody look in their folder at the beautiful flyer?
Mhm.
I just, did y'all see that logo? I mean,
Yes.
I just want to make sure y'all take a look at it while we're waiting.
You
Excellent
know what?
job. Excellent job to our flyer traders.
But I'm going to bring this up. So I'm going to email the flyer to everybody because the one that was in our folder was cut off a little bit at the bottom. So I'll email it so you can all have the better copy.
Is that flyer JPEG?
Oops. I have it both. I have JPEG and PDF.
Well, if you do a JPEG, I would appreciate it because then I can do my social media easier.
Yeah, I'm going to send out both so you have it both ways.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Ms. Dredden, while we're just still chatting, did you do any activities when you went to Edgewood? Like, color guard, you got a cheerleader uniform? What you got, Ms. Dredden?
Oh, that was my favorite.
Which one? Basketball? All right. You gonna wear your jersey?
Yes.
I was thinking the same thing.
Queen.
What's white? Your diploma?
Yeah, it comes.
Okay. So we want to see you in your jersey, Ms. Dredden.
I don't know what it is. But I graduated from Edgewood, yes. It's 69.
Wow. Okay.
Wow, Miss Dredden.
Okay.
I mean, not wow like that, but like.
What did you mean?
Like,
Can't pull that back, Mr. Blake.
Oh,
We just trying to picture what the jerseys look like back then.
Yeah.
also, Miss Soccer. And you know what? In the gym classes, we had the, I don't know if they still do it, but we had to do the horse. We had to climb the ropes,
Yes, yes.
parallel bars, of course, the trampoline. We had to do the on the mats. Actually, doing flips. If they say get do a flip now, I don't think so.
That's a good idea. We may need to do a rope climbing thing where you pull up and see how strong you are. You ever see one of those?
I'm sorry, board members, I hate to interrupt, but we have somebody that logged in.
Okay.
I'm gonna, matter of fact, I believe we have two. Okay, we have two callers. I'm gonna admit the first caller. I don't see. Oh, good evening, caller. You've joined the public comment section of the Winslow Township Board of Education meeting. If you would state and spell your name and give us your address, and then you can make your comment to the board. And the caller is gone.
That was JK, who was probably trying to get in for the closed session item.
Okay.
The name came
Okay.
with the name. Mrs.
Okay.
If there's no one trying to get in, we've waited more than enough time.
Mr. Long, there is one more caller, but
Let's move ahead with that, Mrs. Boyle.
all right. Good evening, caller. You've joined the public comment section of the Winslow Township Board of Education meeting. Please state your name, give us your address, and then you can proceed with your public comment. If you're not logged in for public comment, you can go ahead and sign out.
Yes, this is Debbie Scullin, SCULLIN, Woodford Works in Winslow Township. I would like to suggest that the board considers that the renaming of the schools. I think it's an amazing idea to recognize individuals that have been a major influence. However, I think those funds could be better used for the issues that we are currently facing. So I would just like the board to consider that, that idea.
Caller, this is Dr. Poteet, and I hear the term about costs to change the names of schools, and I'm not sure where that comes from other than the fact of taking the, let's say, the numerical number off and putting letters for the person's name. Other than the cost to change the name, I'm not sure where the thought is coming from, where we're talking about an expensive venture. I heard that for the first time tonight, and I'm not sure what costs people are referring to. Mrs. Martin, I'm not going to put you on the spot. I know you mentioned it in your comments from the Citizens Advisory Committee. Was there some cost that I'm not aware of in terms of changing the name of a school with a cost attached to it?
Okay, I just believe that because we were talking about renaming the schools, we had no idea what or if there was major cost involved. There was a reference made to when we changed the name of the district, and I understand that that's a lot different.
Yeah, that's more than just the name itself. I mean, you talking about changing documentation, records, and things like that. But if you're talking about just changing the name of a school, let's say, for example, school number 14, and you wanted to name that school George Washington. It's just a matter of getting the numbers, the letters, and putting George Washington there. So we're not talking about a substantial amount of money. However, as far as the caller is concerned, I know the thought of us using monies where we can be upgrading our facilities, air conditioning, HVAC, those kinds of things are still on the docket for us to move forward once we get to a point where the cost sort of levels out for us. But at this point, I think we'll be able to do both if that's what the community's desires are. But the changing of the name of a school does not come with a substantial cost at all. It's just a matter of putting the name up, and whatever that cost will be, that will be the only cost.
I absolutely appreciate everybody's response, and I thank you for allowing me to call in.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Mrs. McCoy, is there anyone else?
No, Madam Vice President, the room is empty.
So,
Quick question for Dr. Potee, just off of what the caller just called in. So the renaming of the school, would that fall under the school board to make that, or is that something from the township?
Yes, no.
Okay.
We have a policy in place. It's been in place on the naming of a school. It takes you through the procedures, step by step, the same procedures we followed when we named Jordan Burroughs Gymnasium.
right.
All that's
Okay.
already in place. So it's just a matter of the school board and the community coming up with a process in terms of how you want to select the names. But once you decide, let's say school number 8, you want to change it to George Washington Carver, it's just a matter of putting it out there. I think it's 6 months, if that long, for community conversation. Yes, no, we don't want this, want that. And then once you come to a consensus, then it's just a matter of the board taking a vote to approve that name and then just moving forward, changing the name. So it's not a very difficult, costly process, but it is a process that gives the community enough time to have input so that when you do decide to name a school, like we did at School 4 Gymnasium for the mayor. So it's not a cost at all because it was a new building and we just put the names up as part of the process. So it's not a difficult process. We already have it in place. It's been in place for years. I think maybe what we need to do is go back, take a look at that policy and procedures for naming of a building or school and take a look at it, make it available to the community. And it's probably already there as far as our policies are public, available to the public. So it's really not a difficult thing. It's just a process of having input and then the board, of course, making the final decision once you come up with a name.
Yes, Mrs. Moore.
So would the process be the same? I know this idea has been kind of thrown around. If we wanted to name the football stadium.
Same process.
Okay, thank you.
Same process. One of the things we always do, because since I've been here, I've been a member of the process. We make sure that once you come up with the name or names of the buildings that you want to name, that you do a thorough background check on the individuals. Because once you, let's say, want to make that name that school, you want to make sure that nothing else comes up afterwards that you didn't know that may become an issue for the district down the road. So the time gives you an opportunity to do your research, take your time, make sure everything is in order. I think you mentioned earlier that the person or persons that you may be considering have made substantial contributions either to the community, the state, or somewhere in the country, in the nation, internationally, whatever reasons and the individuals that you want to come up with. Just make sure that you take the time to do the thorough research on that individual so that we don't find ourselves in a situation somewhere down the road that we didn't take the time to, make sure that we are doing the right thing, because a lot of things can change or have changed since those individuals may have left, or if they're still living, whether you're going to name them after people who are living, people who've passed away, whatever the process may be, but you have enough time to make sure you do your homework.
Is there any other discussion? I entertain a motion for adjournment of public comments.
McClendon moves that we adjourn from public comments.
Brennan second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adjourn public comments. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion has carried. Mr. Long, executive session.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. In accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act, we'll be entering into executive session at approximately 8:03. Under the items listed for the exception, there are a number of different items, and this one would be item 8, matters involving employment. On the matter of JK, it's for purposes of a Donaldson hearing. And I would anticipate that we should be approximately 30 to 45 minutes, but the board has the discretion as to how long that we will proceed with that particular matter. So with that, it would be appropriate to call for a motion. There may or may not be action taken coming out of executive session.
Okay, thank you. I entertain a motion to go into executive session at 8:04 p.m.
McClendon moves that we go into exec session.
Brennan second.
Roll call.
Oh, Mr. Blake,
Yes.
Ms. Dredden,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. McClendon,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas. Ms. Thomas,
We may have lost her. Yes, and she's on mute.
is she muted?
Yes, she is. And we just lost her.
Lost her again. Okay. If she comes back, we'll grab her. Miss Peterson.
Yes.
Okay. All right, motion has carried.
Okay.
Mrs. Boyle, while we have IT listening, this would be the only, from my understanding, the only matter that we'll have an executive session tonight. I think there was one other matter, but I think that had been resolved. And then there's been another matter that was moved to the next board meeting. But I would like a few minutes alone with the board before we invite the folks in for purposes of the hearing. So can just the board members and the executive staff and perhaps Mr. Jackson, if he happens to be available, go into exec and keep the other folks out for a moment like we would typically do if we were in person.
I'm sure Mr. Aponte can accommodate that.
Great. So we're going to do a breakout, Mrs. Boyle?
Yes.
That's what I was told. We were going in to be put into a breakout room.
And it should be up on your computer now.
Yes.
Yeah, I enjoyed
Okay.
it.
I think we're going. Oh, I have to hit you.